Hi everyone, Christina here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about making videos. Now, as a student of the modern ages, I often find myself being assigned making a video of some sorts. And the trend recently that I've noticed is recording yourself, which I used to really strongly dislike. And sometimes these videos are going to be seen by other people. So in this video, I'm just gonna give you some quick tips and show you the differences in quality. Let's get started. You probably have noticed the drastic change in quality. This is what it would look like if I just recorded with no setup at all. This includes just using the built-in camera function on my laptop and microphone. We can obviously tell that my laptop's manufacturer did not invest in these things as much as they invested in other stuff. Another thing that often gets overlooked in video quality would be the lighting. And right now I just have an overhead light. I would suggest not to really use overhead lighting for reasons that we can obviously see. Now, if you're not looking to invest in a webcam or a different camera, you can always use your phone. This is just recorded on my iPhone 11. I'm sure other iPhones or other phones for that matter have better visual quality or audible quality, but this is what mine looks like so far, and this is still not with the proper lighting. I do want to add, if you are making a video for YouTube and not one for anything that's supposed to be held in portrait mode, I would suggest always recording with your phone landscape wise instead of portrait, like you know what I mean. This is what it looks and sounds like with a microphone and a webcam. I'm using a Logitech webcam and a Blue Yeti microphone. One thing I want to point out is that the lighting still seriously degrades the quality of this video, as well as the camera positioning. Right now I have my head cut off right here, and so I'm just gonna move my camera up just a little bit. Now I feel like all the attention is drawn to this glowing halo because of the overhead lighting, which is why I will never ever respect overhead lighting. Nobody needs to be seeing how greasy my hair is sometimes. Now I'm gonna be showing you guys some lighting quality options, and obviously we can see that I've turned off my overhead lighting, but now I have the opposite problem. The lighting that I'm using is from a lamp that I use for my architectural drawings. So it is very, very bright. And I have used this light in some of my videos. It's just kind of really overwhelming. I also don't have any lights on in the background. I don't just want one source of light. I want some ambient lighting as well that is not too harsh. So I'm gonna turn on my lamps, and now the quality has significantly improved just from those little lamps behind me. Recently, I had been thinking about the lighting in my videos and how harsh it is, because right now it is giving photo shoot, and this is not a photo shoot, at least for me. So I started experimenting with different lighting options. I invested in a actual ring light that you can adjust the levels of brightness. So this is with a different ring light where I can adjust the brightness and modes. Different colors of light can also really affect your appearance. I'm just gonna adjust some of the levels on my ring light. So this is really bright and I'm very washed out. This is getting lower, and this is the lowest. I would not recommend being in a low level light because it looks like you're in the dark. And like I mentioned, there's different modes on this light as well. So this is in the blue light. So the lighting is a lot more cool toned. This is the warmer toned. This is a warmer toned. I prefer the one that's in the middle. Now, when you're recording a video of yourself, typically you want to be in the center more or less. I also make sure that the light is sort of balanced. So I have a lamp here and I have a lamp there and I have one in front of me. And one thing with my lights is I can change the colors. I just want to point out how the color of lighting can change your appearance. And using me as an example, in some lighting, I will look different. For example, if I switch all the way to a blue color, I get a little bit more red. This can be adjusted in video editing softwares, but if you don't want to go through all those steps, I would suggest adjusting your lighting beforehand. Now, if I were to record with just the ring light in the dark, it would present some issues. I don't really like this vibe going on. So that is why I prefer my lamps. Now let's say I have color changing lights in the background. That can be kind of cool. but it can also be kind of really distracting because the camera has to adjust to that. For now, I'm gonna stop messing around with the lighting. Another thing to think about when making videos is what kind of software you're gonna use to record on. I did mention in the poor quality video that I was using the default camera recording software on the laptop. I used to do that, but it has not been a trustworthy software. Sometimes it cuts me out for some reason and it is very irritating. So I switched over to a different recording software, OBS Studio, and this allows me to record not only with my webcam, but also record my screen as well. Another thing to think about when recording videos is the distance between the camera and the mic as well. If I am leaned all the way back, far away from my camera and microphone, obviously I look kind of different and I sound different. If I come closer, I look and sound different. But if I get really closer, it can be kind of invasive for the both of us. Another tip that I offer would be to know what software you're going to use to edit. I do have a video offering a quick rundown of editing in Adobe Premiere Pro for beginners. If you want to check that out, I do prefer using Adobe Premiere Pro or Rush, but knowing you can always edit your video helps with recording materials, because obviously when you record, especially me, you are going to make mistakes. I often have to cut out a lot of what I'm saying, which brings me to my other tip. When recording a monologue or dialogue with another person, I would suggest scripting something out real quick, but not having it to the side, because if I were reading off of something and I kept looking to the side, you can obviously see that. Just knowing what you're going to talk about, more or less, is a good idea, but do not be caught up in mistakes. I used to stop recording immediately when I misspoke, and that was a nightmare to edit. Now, whenever I just misspeak, I just pause for a moment and keep going. My last tip would be to build some confidence. In the beginning, I felt really weird staring at myself and recording. I would also think about what my cat would think. What if someone hears me? And I would feel even more awkward and look and sound more awkward in my video. But honestly, over time, I just stopped caring. All it takes is just practice and experience, and you don't have to be perfect in the beginning. I'm certainly not perfect now. And so that pretty much wraps up my video on recording videos. In my follow-up video, I will be going over editing footage using Adobe Premiere Pro for beginners if you want to check that out too.